The indie author revolution has been around for more than a decade, but we indies continue to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. From getting over initial prejudices to staring down perfectionism and author imposter syndrome, we've become a force to reckon with. Now, after years of hustle and grind, we indies are rebelling again. Gone are the days of publishing a book a month until we drop, and in its place we're sowing the seeds of a better way. A way with more ease, abundance, and flow. Get ready to learn about indie authorship from a whole new perspective. We're about to cover everything from releasing your poverty mentality to manifesting your millionaire author destiny. I'm Carissa Andrews, and this is the Author Revolution Podcast. Hello again, and welcome to the Author Revolution Podcast. All right, guys, so we got to talk about something, and I don't think many authors really think this through, I know myself included, but are you feeling okay? Like, I know that all around us, we're seeing so many challenges, so many things where it's like, manifest the best you, new year, new you, but no one really talks about, like, when you're not feeling the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, when sometimes at this time of the year, especially if you live in the upper parts of North America or, other places where maybe the sun is not overly forthcoming with its vitamin D-ishness. Is that a word? It is now. Whatever. You know what I mean? So I have, at least this year, which is super weird, maybe it's just a little bit of the Mercury retrograde going straight over the new year. But as a Virgo, I kind of do, unfortunately, sync up with that. I haven't overly been feeling the vibe. I don't know. Normally I'm a planner. Normally I'm right in the middle of doing all the things and like making my lists and setting my goals and trying to figure out how to capture those goals and doing all the things. And this year, I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, okay, this is a different kind of year. Now, when I got on a call with our Millionaire Author Squad, the people who are a part of the Millionaire Author Manifestation beta launch course, we were talking about it this week, about how we're all kind of feeling that way. And so I don't know if it's, resistance. Maybe there's a little bit of resistance going on here, which can crop up if we're not, careful with our mindset. Or perhaps it's just a little bit of seasonal depression. Now, because I live in Minnesota, I tend toward more of the seasonal depression side of things. And this is something that I've learned about myself over the years. There were times where I was like, why do I feel so off? And it normally would hit right around February, like the beginning part of February, where I'm just like not feeling the vibe. And I've kind of noticed it creeping in anywhere between now and the middle of February. And so maybe it's time that we talk a little bit about if you're not feeling it, if you're not feeling motivated to do your work, to do your writing, to get excited about the things that you're normally excited about, like what is the deal going on here? And I think that, honestly, it comes down to a lot of the stuff that's going on inside of our bodies. And in particular, that whole seasonal depression thing really does come down to vitamin D and not getting enough of it. So, like I said, over here in Minnesota, days were shorter. They're starting to get longer now, but not by a whole lot. And we've had a lot of overcast days, like a lot of overcast days. And while it's not normally a big deal because I have windows at least, it's pretty, I get to work from home, so there's that. So I got that good stuff going. But it still doesn't negate the fact that vitamin D is not in huge supply, right? So I have a couple of tips that I want you to be thinking about. If you're feeling off, if you're feeling like things are not quite working the way they normally would this time of year, or if all of your goal setting just feels like it's falling flat, what do you do? What kind of stuff can you try in order to shift the vibe? Well, so tip number one is obviously to get outside a little bit more. If you have the capability, try to get outside, spend some time out there, even 5-10 minutes a day. It's still better than nothing because you're getting a little bit more vitamin D, especially if you can expose some of your skin. Now, the best place to be able to get vitamin D, unfortunately, is the back of our legs, like right behind our knees. And I don't know about you, but I am not going outside with shorts on right now. If it gets above 40, maybe you might see me doing that, but it's not there yet. So get outside though, see if a little bit of fresh air can help clear out those mental cobwebs and shift you into a better place. Okay, so tip number 2 is use a light box when all else fails. I have like one of these little light boxes that I've purchased from Amazon where if I just can't get outside, I will set it on my desk, turn the thing on for an hour, and just let it do its thing. Because it helps me, number 1, see things better. I'm getting older. But at the same time, it helps me to just feel a little bit better. It's so interesting how something as simple as Lightbox can actually do that. I do personally recommend it because they do work. And it just uplifts your spirits a little bit more. Okay, so tip number 3 is obviously take some vitamin D. If you aren't getting enough of it and getting outside for 5 or 10 minutes isn't a thing and you just can't be doing the light box because, I don't know, you have coworkers that are not excited about that sort of thing, whatever, take some vitamin D. And of course, if you can combine all of these things, that's even more powerful. But take some more vitamin D, take care of yourself, and make sure that you're getting what you need in order to feel a little bit better. Now, tip number 4, I have found is huge for me. And I noticed that I am not my best if I'm not doing this. And that is drink more water. Now, we've talked about this on other podcast episodes where, Americans especially, but people in general are on average about 70% dehydrated. Like 70% of us aren't getting enough of water during the day. And when you don't get enough water, you're not thinking clearly, you're not doing your best, your body's not operating optimally. There's all these things that go on. And so drink more water. Like when in doubt, if you're feeling crusty about your other life, about life in general, you're crabby all the time, and it just doesn't seem to be going away, and maybe that's not your default setting, because mine is not defaulted to crotchetiness. It's normally set at right about a contentment level. I'm not super optimistic and passionate about things, but I'm not in doubt or worry or blame. That's not my default setting. So when I am not feeling my comfort level, that contentment, and I'm into those lower octaves of the emotional scale, I know that there's something off with me and I need to do some tweaking. So I'll start with those 4 things, getting outside, light box, vitamin D, drinking more water. In addition, one more dietary thing that you can do is try a new probiotic. If you're not on a probiotic and you're not doing like pre and probiotic supplements, I do recommend that. And I know it probably sounds weird on an author podcast to be recommending that you take supplements, but trust me, we as people need a good, healthy gut microbiome. And when we don't have that, if we're not getting enough vegetables, if we're not taking in enough fiber, if we're eating too much sugar or drinking too much alcohol, whatever those cases might be, you are upsetting the natural balance of your body. And it obviously impacts your mood and it impacts your brain. So shift some of those things. Maybe drop some of the candy. Maybe stop drinking quite so much on the weekends. Try different things to be able to make yourself feel a little bit better. So tip number 6 is get active. If you have been somewhat sedentary and you haven't been moving around a little bit, you're probably in need of that. Your body is meant to move. And so get out, do something. Either go outside and do some hiking in the snow or hop on your elliptical and ride your bike for a little while. Turn on some music and dance for a bit. There's all sorts of ways to get your body in the motion, the momentum it needs in order to feel optimal. And trust me, when you get those endorphin rushes after a workout or after doing some form of exercise or activity, you're going to feel so much better afterwards. So even if you're not feeling like, oh, I am the greatest author on the planet, you are still going to feel better in general and overall because of the fact that you moved your body and gave it what it needs. I think sometimes we have this tendency when we're not feeling it, like when we're feeling down or we're feeling depressed, or if seasonal depression kicks in, we're feeling like we just don't want to do anything, right? We don't want to get up. We don't want to try new things. We don't want to do whatever. But you have to start somewhere. You have to know that you're not in your optimal place and do a little bit of work just to shift it slightly. It doesn't have to be a big shift, but it needs to be enough of a shift that you feel better. The goal is always to be reaching just a little bit higher up on that emotional scale. So if you're in this like discouragement place, the next place to go or to be reaching for is something more like worry. Worry is actually up the emotional scale. Technically, blame is right above it, but I don't typically default to blame. So I'll reach for more like worry or doubt or even disappointment so that I can continue up the emotional scale and feel better than where I was at when I was in discouragement. Overwhelmment is even higher up. So if you're overwhelmed, if you're frustrated, if you're pessimistic about the whole thing, those are all up the emotional scale. Eventually, as you work your way up, you'll get to simpler places, of happier places like contentment or hopefulness, optimism. But you need to do just a little bit of work to shift yourself up naturally. All right, so tip number 7 is to meditate. Now, for me, that's my go-to. Whenever I am kind of in a funky place head-wise, I will plug in my earbuds, iPod, whatever, you know what I mean. The things that go on your ears and you listen. I will put them in and I will listen to a meditation, either guided or even if it's just like a mantra type meditation where they guide you to think a certain mantra over and over and you're doing it throughout the meditation. I'll just kind of pick something that feels right to me and I will spend at least 20 minutes in meditative state trying to clear whatever funkiness I've got going on. Now, speaking of cleaning up funkiness and getting into a higher vibe, music is great too. Like if you're not in the place to like move your body and you just can't do that right now, but you need to shift, listening to music that makes you feel excited and powerful and energetic is such a great thing to do. So one of the things that I've actually done over the years, like when I'm getting ready for a book launch or getting ready for a launch for Author Revolution, is I will create a playlist for it. And so I have like these kick-ass motivation playlists or the entrepreneur experience playlist because I've been a part of Amy Porterfield's stuff before. I will turn those things on and listen to them and just get into the vibe of the music and be like, yeah, that's right. I'm in this. I got this. I am unstoppable. Yes, this is cool. And it just shifts you out of that, I guess, negative spiral that sometimes we can get into when we're not careful. Okay, so tip number 9, and this is the last one, but it's got a couple caveats. It's to get inspired, right? I want you, if you're feeling in a funk right now and you're not, feeling like you want to do things, find a way to get inspired. Whether that be reading a book and just allowing yourself to read in your genre or read something that maybe you've been wanting to read for a while, let it entertain and fulfill you in a way that you haven't been allowing yourself to be fulfilled. Talk to a writerly friend to feel more inspired about your writing, to feel more interested in what you're doing. Maybe throw some ideas back and forth and just like have a good laugh about what you could do with your writing this year. Or of course, shift into something completely new. Write something new. If this year has been a struggle to write the same stuff that you've been writing for a while, or you're not motivated to write what you know or wanted or planned, maybe just tackle something new. Even if it's just a short story, even if it's just a quick palate cleanser of, a 5,000 word short story that really excites you and gets you going. Whatever it is, just allow some sort of prompt to be the thing that really makes you happy. Whatever you do to get inspired, just make sure it's uplifting. For me, I've been immersing myself in the, vicinity of people who uplift me, people who I aspire to be, people who really just, have the qualities that I'm trying to capture for myself and hang on to. And some of those people are like Denise Duffield Thomas. I have a friend, Allie Bjork, who is doing some crazy cool, amazing things. And so I've been listening to her and hopping into some of her masterclasses. Do things that are going to inspire you and challenge you and get you thinking differently from where you're currently at. Because when we are looking at things in a negative slant, whenever we're putting our mental efforts into those things, you are building momentum for them. And so if you don't do something to actively shift from a state of depression or anxiety or fear, you are going to continue to spiral into those areas much longer than you really should be. And now I want you to look at this in terms of a manifestational standpoint, because when you are setting a goal and you're trying to come up with something that's going to really inspire you for the year, maybe you're trying to hit that 7-figure mark this year, or maybe you're trying to just, earn out more than you're spending on your ads, whatever it is. And if you're not seeing that result coming to you, you can feel let down. You can start to feel disappointment and allow that negative spiral where you get into worry and discouragement, and you're just in this place of complete insecurity and unworthiness. And that is the wrong direction on that emotional scale that obviously you don't want to spiral down into. It becomes then this place of resistance, this place of negative connotation when it comes to your author career. And if you allow yourself to sit in that and to continue to go into it, the resistance will build its own momentum and you won't be able to get out of it, or at least not very well. So whenever you're feeling this way, especially if it is seasonal depression and it's coming about in a place where it's pretty obvious that it's this time of year every year, start taking action that you know is going to help you. Hopefully those 9 tips, getting outside, using the light box, taking vitamin D, drinking more water, trying a new probiotic, getting active, meditating, listening to music, getting inspired. Hopefully those 9 things are things that you can try or trial out pretty quickly, and you can find which one it is. Like for me, this past week, I have made sure to take my vitamins on time. I have been increasing my water. I've been using the light box. I have not gotten outside as much as I should, but probably need to. And I've been more active. Meditation's always been my thing, so I'm always doing that. And of course, like I said, I'm getting inspired. I'm getting outside of my typical routine to inspire myself to do the things that I know I want to do the things that I know are going to help you as an audience, things that are going to help my writing, that will then obviously inspire my readers. There's all these things that we can do. And I really just want you to be thinking, like, if you're looking around at the ecosphere of Facebook or any of these places right now, and you're going, oh, there's so much out there and I just have no motivation for any of it. Start inward first. Start inward just to check on and see if there's something going on with the way that your body is reacting right now. Like, is there something, a vitamin, a mineral that needs to be replenished? Because sometimes it's very much as simple as that. Okay? Now, I just wanted you to, I guess, feel heard and seen if this is where you're at right now, because I feel you. I definitely feel you. Minnesota is not the easiest place to live when it comes to, having enough sunlight and having enough, vitamin D to just keep you happy. And I am a naturally happy person. So when I feel like this, it's uncomfortable to me and I don't like it. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to blossom and come out and feel ecstatic and wonderful and amazing about your author career, because we can and will accomplish whatever we choose and decide is ours. And I choose and decide to have a wonderful, awesome, amazing author career and wonderful, awesome, amazing author coach career as well, because you fulfill me. Teaching you, talking with you fulfills a part of me that writing a book just doesn't, because I'm a teacher at heart as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this and being a part of this amazing community that I've been building as Author Revolution and the Millionaire Author Coach, because it means the world to me. And I want you to continue feeling supported and wonderful and uplifted. Now, if you get the chance to try any of these, I would love it if you would comment either on Facebook or one of the other places where maybe you found this podcast episode, and let me know if you try any of the tips. Did any of them work for you? Was one of them more beneficial to you than others? Is there anything in here where you're like, oh yeah, I totally should have been doing that? Or maybe you're just going, you know what? Let's throw everything we have at this thing, because this is my year. 2023 is the year that I do it all. And if all else fails, just know, like, moods change. Our bodies change. The way that our insides are working will shift. Maybe we'll start getting more sunlight. Everything will get better. And so don't make any big decisions about anything until you're in a place where you feel good about it. Don't try to force a career to be different. Don't try to force your authorness to be what it's not right now. Don't try to push yourself into a position where you're just not feeling good about it either. Take the time you need right now to feel good about you and about how things are working before you make any cool decisions about your author career. Because trust me, from that place of betterness, from that place of having more joy in your mindset, more positivity, you're going to create better opportunities for yourself than if you were trying to force yourself based off of overwhelmment or disappointment or anything beyond that, right? We all have so much wonderful things that we can bring into our lives. And if we are in the right place to view them, to receive them, more of it will come. And I promise you, if you give yourself just a little bit of time to shift into a better place, to allow your body to shift into a better place, to just trust that this is not the be all end all. I know we get trapped in this a lot. I do, where it's like whenever you're feeling something, you think this is how it's going to be forever. Unless it goes above and beyond what you're normally feeling, right? We get to that glass ceiling and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, it can't last like this for that long. Or we self-sabotage something in order to bring ourselves back into where we normally feel more comfortable, right? I know you people. I'm on to you. Maybe I'm on to myself, but you see what I'm saying. It's all about trusting that things can get better, trusting that things will shift and be better. And just know that you are okay to have it all. You are absolutely 100% allowed to have it all. Joy, empowerment, passion, all of those things are yours. You can be successful. You can be whatever you want to be, and you can find the right steps to make them all happen. But right now, if you are in resistance or if you are feeling that seasonal depression state, trust yourself to find the right things, the right paths to get you out of that, okay? Hopefully these tips will help you. Hopefully you'll try something a little bit different, maybe something that you haven't yet tried before, and hopefully it works out really well for you. So I'm glad that I got that off my chest. I have just been feeling a little bit off, and I've been doing everything I can to try to shift it around. And so far it's working. It's keeping my mind off of what I guess my normal mindset would go towards. And it's helping me to just be more present and active with what it is I want versus what I'm, afraid of, I guess. Do you feel that? Okay, if you'd like to download today's transcript to this podcast episode, you can always head over to authorrevolution.org/166 and you can grab it there. And if you are a fantasy author or someone who likes to read or write fantasy, hang tight because next week I have an amazing podcast interview that I'm going to be sharing with myself and Martha Carr. Now, Martha comes on, she's obviously a prolific fantasy writer, but she's actually going to be talking about like how to write through adversity, how to write when things are not going the way you really thought, and in specific, how to write when things are really not good at all. All right? So hang tight. It's going to be a fantastic interview. You're going to love it. And we'll see you then next week with that. In the meantime, I want you to hang tight, chin up, enjoy what you can, and go forth and start your author revolution.